Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mystery Recap. I'm going to explain the movie H0ll0w Man in this video. At the start of the film, the main character is shown as a scientist named Sebastian. During a long struggle, he developed a medicine. He was able to vanish any organism, including humans and animals. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to invent a medicine that could reverse the invisible effects. 1 year had passed since he began working on this project. In this way, he may be able to retrieve the disappeared items. His effort finally bears fruit after he works hard on it. He succeeded in developing a drug capable of reviving those entities that had disappeared. Using the serum to make things invisible, he had already vanished many animals, on which he wished to turn back. He shared its success with a co-worker scientist when he was successful in inventing it. They are invited to his laboratory. In his lab, there is an invisible gorilla. They first knocked it out with great effort. Then, the feet and hands are attached to the bed, allowing it to lie flat. It is injected with Sebastian's medicine, which was made to reverse the invisible things. The medicine they inject into it causes it much trouble. Its heart rate has increased. In view of its condition, it appeared that the gorilla would not survive. However, they are trying to save it, even as they shock its heart. As a result, the gorilla's heartbeat becomes normal. Eventually, its entire body started to heal. The gorilla took complete control of its body. As a result of being successful, they are so excited. Because their experiments and inventions have been successful, it is revealed that all experiments were carried out for military purposes. They meet with military personnel. The lie Sebastian tells is that he hasn't achieved any success yet. To get success, he needs more time. The military declares that you have already taken a lot of time. If you do not improve, we will recruit another at your place. Sebastian's friends Linda and Matthew ask him while he is outside in the meeting, "Why did you tell a lie that you did achieve success? Even you have achieved success." He says he wants to test this medicine on any human being, and Sebastian himself was that subject human being, not anyone else. His co-workers are invited to meet with him. His co-workers also believe him when he lies. "We are allowed to test this medicine on humans by the military." The reality was quite different. He says, "I want to try it for myself." Matthew and Linda also support him in this matter. Even then, it is not as such, but a lie. Sebastian injects the medicine into his body. He feels much pain as a result. Finally, he disappears. He also loses consciousness in the process. While he is regaining consciousness, he takes 17 hours. When he came to his senses, he found it difficult to endure light. Then he asks for the light to be turned off. Then all the lights are turned out. Sebastian was completely invisible. His body was tested. The body of the man is not disturbed in any way. In the area, the girls appeared restless and uneasy. It was because they were sensing Sebastian's presence in the area. After 3 days, it was time to make Sebastian visible. He is injected with that medicine which makes him visible. Once again, Sebastian is in trouble. The worst part is that he cannot make himself visible. A critical condition has afflicted him. It is likely that he will die soon. When they could not find a way to hide Sebastian, they masked him to make him visible to everyone. As a result, Sebastian is enraged. Matthew shouts at him while he argues with him. "After burning me in the light, you have hurt me enough within days," he says. "I'm the only one who has to endure this pain." Sebastian was not becoming visible, so his psychological condition was also deteriorating. Because he was invisible, he was restless and wanted to leave. Sebastian leaves the laboratory vexatiously one day. He immediately goes home. When he arrives at the house, he sees the girl next door. He had been focused on her some years ago. Sebastian removes his mask. He rings the doorbell of the house. Her door is empty when she opens it to check. Invisibly, he enters her home. As Linda approaches Sebastian's house, she catches a glimpse of his mask. She is frightened after witnessing it. She returns to the laboratory. and she holds a meeting with her other co-workers. Sebastian was walking in state of invisibility without a mask, so he is a risk to us. At the same time, Sebastian approaches there. Linda warns him that if he repeats the behavior, she will file a complaint with the military. Sebastian then agrees with Linda, but they still felt fear in their hearts. Sebastian was psychologically weird. They decide to keep an eye on Sebastian at all times. Sebastian was detectable by a camera in the lab even when he was invisible. Sebastian was aware that he was being watched. Therefore, he cannot leave the laboratory at this time. He plays the previous recording while causing problems with the camera settings. Other people might think that he is still in the lab. As a result, he leaves the lab, and he immediately moves to Linda's house. After going there, he discovers that Linda and Matthew are having an affair. As a result of his affectionate feelings toward Linda, he loses his temper. In a fit of rage, he breaks the window glass of her house. Linda looks outside, but no one is there. She suspects Sebastian may be there. To make sure this is true, she calls the laboratory. An employee in the laboratory reports to Linda, "Sebastian is here." Because the previous recording is still playing, Sebastian was lying on his bed at the time. He believes Sebastian is there, but in reality, he isn't. Sebastian is enraged after returning to the laboratory. His actions inflict the death of a dog. The next morning, when the veterinarian returns to give the animals food, she finds the dead dog. "What are you going to do about it?" Sebastian asks her. "I don't even know anything about it," Sebastian replies. She checks all the video recordings to make sure, but she doesn't get even one point. At night, Sebastian goes back to Linda's home. Linda can sense Sebastian's presence in the room. She knows there must be someone there. During this time, she herself goes to the laboratory for investigation. She knows that he is trying to defy them. The reason is that Sebastian is not in the room. After that, she decides to tell her senior doctor about it. When Linda and Matthew visit that senior doctor, they tell him everything. The doctor excludes Linda and Matthew from this project because he is furious. While both of them were leaving, the doctor plans to reveal it to his coworkers, but the phone was unresponsive. Meanwhile, Sebastian goes there. While drowning the senior doctor, he kills him. Sebastian returns to the laboratory the next morning. Matthew and Linda were waiting for the senior doctor to call, because today was a meeting day. The senior doctor isn't calling because he isn't around anymore. After that, Linda called the doctor to find out what was going on. After that, she finds out the doctor is dead from drowning. After that, Linda decides to open up the fact of this project to the public. Because Sebastian's invisibility was only known to his colleagues in the lab, it was not known to the rest of the people. When she called, his phone was also unresponsive. They tried to go outside, but the door wasn't opening. Because Sebastian was deactivating the door lock codes, the only code that was active was Sebastian's. Sebastian was still in that laboratory, so they decided to seize him at any cost. Sebastian kills one of the girls among them once she returns to the laboratory to take what's left of her. Sebastian was going to kill them one by one, because he did not want to reveal the truth of his invisibility to anyone. Through a device in the laboratory, they were able to track Sebastian's location. Matthew and his friend moved there to catch him. One is Matthew and the other is his friend. Matthew's friend is injured by Sebastian there. Meanwhile, Matthew shoots his weapon at Sebastian as well, but he doesn't suffer any harm, and he flees from the place where he appears. The blood of Matthew's friends was much wasted, therefore his blood is needed. Then Linda's friend goes to get blood, and Sebastian goes there as well, and he kills that girl. The friend of Matthew also meets his end at the same time. Linda, Matthew, and one of their friends were the only survivors left. Now they are looking for Linda's friend that went to arrange blood. She is found dead in the cold room. Additionally, Sebastian murdered the third survivor in addition to Linda and Matthew with an iron rod. While trying to save his friend, Sebastian also injures Matthew. Then he turns on the freezer cold room and leaves Linda and Matthew in it. Then he goes away, leaving them there. The cold temperature made him want to end them. As a result, the temperature of the freezer was gradually dropping. Linda tries to open the door bravely, but to no avail. Matthew is unconscious due to his injuries. Sebastian comes on the scene now, and he gets ready. He creates a bomb by using a chemical. He then leaves, setting the time of the bomb. On the other side, Linda was also trying to break the door with an electromagnet. As a result, the door is unlocked. After unlocking the door, she brings Matthew out. Matthew's body had become frozen, so she gets inflamed near him. Linda now moves to the spot where Sebastian is present. He was in the elevator. Just as the elevator door was about to close, Linda approached it. Linda has a fire thrower, so she decides to use it to burn Sebastian. Sebastian was being engulfed in flames. His body was also gradually being burned. Sebastian was aggressive and wounded, so he wanted to avenge Linda. In any way possible, he wanted to end her life. Then Linda turned on the fire extinguisher. The result is that water starts falling from there. As of now, Sebastian was barely visible, and he was pathetically ending Linda's life. He tries to choke her while keeping his foot on her neck. When Linda is nearly dead, Matthew arrives there holding an iron rod. With that iron rod, he hits Sebastian in the head. Consequently, Sebastian falls down. Both Matthew and Linda leave together after being lifted up by Matthew. But Sebastian, who was still alive, picked up the iron rod. He's almost going to hit Matthew with that rod to get his attention. During the attempt to push Sebastian, the rod contacts an electric cable, causing a shock to be transmitted to his body. As a result, Sebastian is knocked unconscious and falls down. Matthew and Linda then go to the place where Sebastian had fixed the bomb. They both understood that they had a limited time. They can't stop the explosion of this bomb. They would also like to leave, but they could not escape through the elevator because Sebastian had turned off the elevator. So they climb the ladder that is attached to the elevator. As they climb, they see the bomb explode. Sebastian holds Linda's foot below as she climbs. It is because Sebastian is still alive. Matthew advances to save Linda. But before Matthew enters the elevator, Sebastian enters with Linda. Linda holds a cable that is settled in the elevator as she stands in it. It was the cable that brought the elevator from top to bottom. With her foot, Linda presses a button there. Consequently, the cable is disconnected from the elevator, and Sebastian falls down with the elevator. The bottom side of the building is on fire due to an explosion. As a result, Sebastian is burned to death, and Linda begins to approach Matthew cautiously. In approaching Matthew, they are both excited and survived. The movie ends with this as well.